Episode 1 of Phil Wins the Tour de France was Col de Tourmalet in the Pyrenees. Now, it's time for some Alps. The next stop on Phil Wins the Tour de France is Provence, known for its wine, its honey. We're going to experience all of that. But first, we've got to get what it's really known for, Mont Ventoux. Ventoux is known as the Giant of Provence, the Windy Mountain, and it's probably known as a lot of other four-letter words, depending on the person, depending on the day. Mont Ventoux is a staple of the Tour de France. This is where Tom Simpson tragically died in 1967, and it wasn't from crashing on the descent. Don't do drugs, kids. Stay in school. You've seen epic doper duels going back decades from guys who probably could have learned a lesson from Simpson. You saw Chris Froome going for a run on Ventoux, and this is where Vingegaard cracked Tade in 2011. And don't worry, it'll crack me too. Hey. I'm Phil Gaimon. I was a pro cyclist for 10 years, and the dream is the Tour de France, but I never got to do it. So now, 10 years retired, I'm going back. I'm gonna tackle the best climbs in the Tour de France, and I'm gonna win the Tour, because no matter how fast I go up the climbs, I'm enjoying the food, the wines, the culture, and the people. And I'll put my routes and links to points of interest in the description, so you can win the Tour de France too. Thanks for following along. I mean, merci. This video is part of a collaboration between Mike Cotty of the Cole Collective, get it, and Worst Retirement Ever. So lots to see in Provence, but I've got to say this area is lousy with cyclists in a good way. Anywhere you look in Badois, just dudes in their tights, stopping at a bar after their ride, enjoying a beer. There's also plenty of ladies, plenty of e-bikes, plenty of mountain bikes. Get them. Bonjour. After a long day in the car driving from the Pyrenees to the other side of France, our first day in Badois was an easy ride. Emily and I did zero homework on planning a route, but had no trouble finding beautiful roads, a spring to cool down.
Will it land on me?
It already did.
Oh, there it is.
And a tasty pizza for dinner. The next morning, Mike Cotty took me up to Gorges de la Nesque. The climb up was a cyclist's dream. 4% grade, narrow, twisty, with rock tunnels. Of course, you're there to ride Ventoux, but if you come out here, don't miss the Gorges de la Nesque. They're absolutely don't do it, Phil. Don't do it. They're beautiful. Scenic. Lovely. Mike does the videos for Wahoo System, and they're going to add Phil Wins the Tour de France to that platform. So we used the view at the top to film, and we coasted back to town. If you remember from episode 1 of this series, France was facing a record pollen count, and it was killing me. Whoop showed my resting heart rate up 10 beats from normal. I'd been pounding my first Endurance multivitamin. Unfortunately, I don't have a sponsor for allergy pills, so I had to pay for those. And then I slammed my brakes when I saw a stand selling local honey, which is supposed to be good for allergies.
If you want test, from sweetest to strongest.
Yeah, let's do a taste test. Provence is known for its honey since the 1400s, when hives were made of hollow tree stumps. They have hundreds of local producers, exporting all over the world in jars that comply with specific regulations, distinguished by a red label, which is a protected designation origin. France loves making rules like this. Just wait till the next episode when I explain the baguette standards. You don't realize the variety of honey tastes and textures until you try them side by side. I like all of them. I'm a fan of sugar, if you're not aware of that. Honey has different tastes and color from varying flower and nectar composition.
This is the wild flowers of Mont Ventoux.
And crystallizes depending on its glucose to fructose ratio. Local here is chestnut, and of course,
lavender above 1,000 meters. It's a real lavender.
I'll take this one and this one. You know who can tell you more about lavender? My wife.
Emily's Plant Corner.
Emily, I know you were excited about the plant corner for Ventoux.
I was gonna do grapes because, I mean, look where we are, but I think we need to do lavender. Lavender is a perennial flowering plant that is part of the sage family, preferring warmer Mediterranean climates, but also loves the maritime breeze. Lavender has been associated with the Provence region for centuries, and its cultivation in this region dates back to ancient times. The Romans, who were actually one of the first to recognize lavender, used it for its medicinal properties, as well as its soothing qualities, and used it often in baths.
The Romans loved bubble baths.
The word lavender itself is derived from the Latin term from lavare, which means to wash. As one of the top producers of lavender in the world, the Provence region not only relies on lavender for its economic impact, but also has cultural significance. Each summer, its blooms attract visitors from all over the world in its festivals, its arts, its crafts. And these celebrations often feature music, rituals, and you'll find it in crafts and products such as ice cream, honey, and herbal teas.
Finally, carved up on honey, it was time to tackle Mont Ventoux. The top of the climb is, holy shit, that's it all the way up there? All right, well, how bad could it be? The KOM on that, just under an hour by Tade. All right, let's go. We met up with Mike at one of the dedicated parking areas in Bédoin. Mike had done a little recon that morning, a casual ride up Ventoux, blasting by dudes while he filmed himself, and confirmed that at least it wasn't living up to the Windy Mountain nickname.
Actually, I've got to say, so far, it's pretty good. Almost tailwind, or at least no wind sections on the way to the summit.
I flew out with one bike, so of course I'm still on my Weight Weenie Factor O2 VAM setup. I went through that in detail in the Tourmalet episode, and nothing changed other than a fresh coat of Invisiframe on the carbon to make it look pretty and shiny, and more Silca wax lube on the chain. Velofix Los Angeles had given me the full wax treatment before I left, and then this tops it off while I'm on the road. I got a flying start from the vineyards at the bottom, which of course is not as much of a flying start as Tade would have had in his effort, with teams drag racing to get their leaders into good position. Drafting would also help a lot for the first section, which is 5% gradient, so I didn't feel guilty in a non-UCI legal aero position. It was hilarious how much I was hemorrhaging time early on, according to the Strava live segment on my Wahoo, despite going pretty fast if I do say so myself. You might know there are 3 ways up Mont Ventoux. I can't say which is more difficult, probably the one you did most recently. We chose the most popular route from Bédoin, which is also the side that the Tour de France does this year. Other ways up are from Salt, which has the same final kilometers as the Bédoin route, or from nearby Melusine. If you stay for a few days, you can tackle all 3. The popular challenge for crazy bike riders is to do all 3 in one ride, which is insane, but it can be done. I'm the type to go a different type of insane, which is to go so fast up one way that I can't walk the rest of the day. Not to step on Emily's plant corner, but you'll pass a lot of cherry trees in the valley, which were ripe at the time, and we got yelled at for getting photos because the farmers were afraid we were going to steal them. The first ascent of Mont Ventoux was claimed to be from Italian poet Petrarch. There is some debate on whether this is true. Strava, it didn't happen, Petrarch.
We're gonna go on just a little bit.
You pass through a couple small villages called Saint Colombe and Les Bruns, but you won't hit any traffic. And then you're up in the trees, which was definitely my favorite part, except that it kicks up to 8, 9, 10% here. The wind was calm, but weather was brutal that day. In addition to the pollen, it was super hot. I had a full bottle of First Endurance EFS for the climb, when usually I'll just have a few sips in there, but the grams were worth it today. We were also equipped with ice socks.
Mountain, he'll be coming around the mountain, he'll be coming around the mountain when he comes. Except that's not him. My bad. For real this time. Nope, he didn't want it. Didn't want the ice.
Emily even helped out a guy who was not equipped. As you get higher, you're in a different climate zone, so it gets rockier, with smaller trees, more moss, and less shade. I was hoping that the altitude would help with the heat, but not so. Up here it's all limestone, and it's desolate, which is about how my legs and soul felt at that point. At altitude there is a natural tree line, but we're not that high up. These trees were harvested long ago for shipbuilding. Much of the climb has been reforested, but this gives it yet another nickname of Bald Mountain. My first thought is that Bald Mountain is hardly original, there's a lot of those. and it already has Windy Mountain and Giant of Provence as nicknames, so why are you hogging all the nicknames? But since there's 3 ways up, and it is bald as hell, I'll allow it. Once you're clear of the trees, you can see the chapel built in the 15th century and dedicated to the Holy Cross at the top. It looks like it's close, which is torture because you still have quite a ways to go.
Just under 6Ks to the top. Do you need anything?
There's also a meteorological station up there constructed in 1882, which is no longer in use. One thing I've learned from these climbs is there's a lot of observatories at the top, and the science of telescopes moves quick, so they're obsolete usually in 15 years or so. Mike camped up there one night. He said it was great for stargazing. The mountain comprises a species boundary between the flora and fauna of northern and southern France. Some species, including various types of spiders and butterflies, are unique to Mont Ventoux. Emily did find a butterfly that kind of matched her nails. We're not sure if that one was rare or not. In addition to the heat, the actual air quality was bad those days. I couldn't figure out what caused that, but you could see it in the sunset. There's a little section of 3% grade at about 7K to go, but that's hardly recovery.
Come on, you're nearly there.
It's ugly, but I like when it's steepest at the top. That makes sure you empty the tank. And that I did. Don't be impressed at how much faster I'm going than these dudes. It's entirely possible that they're on their triple Ventoux. That said, my time was pretty good. 33rd on Strava, which doesn't sound impressive, but then you realize that the best in the world have all ripped that with a draft and teammates pacing them, probably multiple times, with 169,000 people. So it's not just top 1%, it's top 0.1%, with no draft. With the sniffles, I was a good 20 watts from what I've been doing at home a few weeks before, so that's frustrating. But realistically, that might be the difference between 33rd and 25th place. So, who cares? And I'm glad to have done it. Maybe glad isn't quite the word for this moment. After fighting through a thick crowd of one fan who recognized me and got a cookie sticker, we had the awards ceremony. Just like a pro, I had a shot of Ketoneade, I am a convert at this point, and then don't miss the Roman ruins on your way down. It's weird how the Romans built ruins all over Europe. And then instead of champagne, the only way to finish the day in Provence was a wine tasting, which was not hard to find around here. This area is of course famous for Grenache, Syrah, and Rosé, which all have different flavors depending on which side of the mountain they're grown and how much light they get. Now, I'm no sommelier. I am a smellier at this point, sorry. But it was delicious, right?
Delicious.
Delicious. Emily, of course, made some friends somehow.
What is your name?
Emily.
Emily.
For Emily.
Émilie, Émilie, voilà ton verre, et surtout ne renverse pas. Et on meurt au ventibus, au ventibus, au ventibus, sexibus, églou, 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 églou.
A glue, keep going.
Elle a bu son verre comme les autres. C'est une ivrogne. Ça se voit et ça se
That's it for Ventoux. Up next in Phil Wins a Tour de France, Alpe d'Huez. Coming soon. Thanks for watching.